Hello friends and welcome to today's video, and today we're talking about the Fuji X-T4, and I sort of thought that I would dress for the occasion because it is a nice looking camera. So without further ado, here are my thoughts as a professional hybrid photographer of the Fuji X-T4. Enjoy. Okay, so the Fuji X-T4, the successor to the X-T3. Now this camera, mind you, is an incremental iteration of the X-T3, but we get some really important features like a nice new flippy screen that I really enjoy. It unlocks a lot of creativity for the users of the X-T4 so that you can get some more crazy angles that you could not do with the X-T3, as well as you can vlog on it so you can see yourself if you are so inclined. Now the more important feature I think is the IBIS that we get. Now it's not as good as I would say on my old Panasonic S1H, nor is it as good as my S7S3 from Sony, but it certainly does a decent enough job, and I think IBIS is very important to this camera because of the target audience for this camera. I'm thinking that people are buying the Fuji X-T4 to do street photography, mostly handheld, as a nice vacation camera. And there, the Fuji is really nice because of the small lenses in the X series, but also it lends it really well for handheld shooting. And therefore, IBIS is really important so that we eliminate some shaking, and we can also do slower shutter speed for both photos and some video work. So good on you, Fuji, for putting the IBIS in the X-T4. Now, what are some things that I think are missing from the X-T4? The big thing that comes to mind for me as a professional videographer is ProRes RAW, since Fuji already has that on their higher end mirrorless line. I would have loved to see ProRes RAW just because I've seen how good the stills images are, and I think you could bump a bit more quality if we were to get 12-bit RAW out of the X-T4, and I also just enjoy that flexibility of shooting in RAW even on videos. But I think that is this. I'm also a bit curious why Fuji aren't producing a full frame camera at this point. I think the market would really appreciate that. I just think it's so weird that they haven't APS-C camera that's priced in the same price range as the Sigma FP and the Panasonic S5 and the Nikon C6, at least in Scandinavia where I am. And also, I think it's a bit weird that they have an APS-C camera and a media format system, but there's clearly a gap in the range there. So I'm excited to see if Fuji puts out a nice full frame camera. I think that would shake up the camera market quite nicely. And the other thing that I'm not too fond of with the X-T4 is the autofocus, especially now that I've shot a lot on the Sony A7S3. You get spoiled so quickly with good autofocus. And again, it's one of those things that it unlocks a lot of creativity when you know that your focus is gonna be bang on every time. Now, it works good for stills, but not so good for video. It's sort of usable, but not in any like professional sense, and not even to catch those important like family memories. So I would just like shoot manually. That's again me and my preference, but I don't like a wobbly sort of image. Then I almost prefer an ardent sharp one, and I can do smoother sort of focus transitions, if you will. So picture quality wise, a lot of things remain the same, and they are mostly good things. The X-T4 picture wise performs very much the same as the X-T3. So let's just take a quick look how it compares to the A7S III and the Sigma FP. And this is more sort of my personal taste. I think those cool looking retro dials are completely useless for me and the workflow that I had. I would much prefer just having a top display that we get on the Panasonics and we get on the Nikon. I think that's a lot better use of that real estate. But again, I don't think I'm the target audience for this camera because I have a lot of friends who own the X-T4 that are really good hobby photographers, and they really enjoy that retro look, and the camera looks a lot nicer in your living room on a shelf as sort of just a design feature than any of my mirrorless cameras look, for sure. Alright guys, that is it for the Fuji X-T4, a fantastic enthusiast camera that really got better from the X-T3 that I really enjoyed a lot shooting with. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on the Fuji X-T4. Are you planning to get one? Are you pitting it against other cameras, and if so, what cameras? Leave some comments down below. I'm really curious to find out what you think about this camera. That being said, if you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to my channel for more video gear review, camera tips and tricks, as well as some photography philosophy. But that is it, you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.